What is up, everyone? Crunch Frog here, and as everyone knows, the camo grind is arguably as easy as it ever has been this year in Modern Warfare 2. Gold is so much more attainable than it has in past years, and as such, players have been on an all-out mad dash to obtain the completionist camos such as Polyatomic and Orion. Now, in years past, I've really only gotten gold on a few guns each year, and I remember back in Black Ops 2, I was actually only 2 assault rifles short of diamond camo, and that was literally as close as I've gotten, so really haven't grinded for it in the past. And especially with the new era of COD ushered in with Modern Warfare 2019, we've seen camo numbers skyrocket into the triple digits even, and the amount of kills and challenges required to get gold on those weapons have also skyrocketed. This meant that for the last few years of COD, I just haven't been prioritizing camos as much. I still tried to get gold on a bunch of weapons, and I did. I remember Modern Warfare 2019, I actually had a good deal of the assault rifles gold, in fact, but it was never like my main focus. I never set out every single day just to get gold or anything like that, and it always just seemed out of reach for me because there were so many hurdles and challenges and the sheer amount of kills and stuff like that. Add in the fact that skill-based matchmaking or engagement optimized matchmaking, whatever you want to call it, basically made all non-meta weapons pretty much unusable if you were above average player playing against other above average players, and just camo grinding turned out to just not be worth it for me in those last couple of games. Now, obviously, like I said before, Modern Warfare 2's brand new progression system, camo grinding is kind of back and more palatable and more possible than ever before. And in this video, we'll kind of discuss how that actually almost ruined COD for me this year and what I've kind of done to get back to enjoying Call of Duty once again. Now, as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up as it greatly helps my channel grow and reach new audiences. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date with all of the latest Call of Duty news as well as other gaming news. And I do weekly gaming discussion videos here and some let's play videos, a whole bunch of stuff for you guys every week, so make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with all of that. So with that all out of the way, let's get right to it. So again, I talked about not really getting into camo challenges and stuff like that the last few games, and that completely changed when I got my hands on Modern Warfare 2. From the moment we booted up, I saw that there was only 5 small challenges standing between me and gold now. And instead of 70 painful gun levels to get through, there was only maybe 20 or 30 levels to grind through. Suddenly, obtaining Platinum or maybe even Orion seemed possible, right? It seemed like something that I could feasibly obtain with only a couple hours played every day, since I do have a job and everything like that. It still seemed possible for me, the everyman. And within the first night of playing, I remember I stayed over a friend's house. We gamed all night, did a classic release night kind of deal, LAN party sort of thing almost. And it actually managed to get my precious M4 gold camoed already. So within one night, I had gold camo. Obviously, it was a statistical outlier night. I really went hard that night, but you get my point. I was already able to get one gun gold. And so in the next month or so after that, I was actually able to get all of the assault rifles gold, even before shipment was a thing. And logically, my next step was to kind of swap over to SMGs. Those are my second favorite guns. And, I wanted to try to get all of those guns leveled up and achieve gold with each one of those as well. Now, this was slightly harder as, again, I'm mainly an assault rifle kind of guy. I have been since COD 4, but all of the submachine guns still felt good, and thus I was able to max them out, the entire category, level them all up, and get gold with basically very few headaches along the way. I even found some guns that I actually really liked. And that's unfortunately where the fun kind of ended. See, up until then, I was still able to compete in almost every gunfight up until that point. With a few exceptions like the M16, most guns still felt good to use in the assault rifle and SMG category. And while some weren't exactly meta beasts, I was still able to compete in, again, most of the gunfights that I faced. When the skill-based matchmaking or engagement-only matchmaking kicked into full gear, I was still able to eke out decent games. Maybe not as good as if I was using, perfect guns, but it's still decent games, even when those systems kicked up and it placed me with the sweatiest of sweats. Now, would I have rather have been using the M4 or Cast-Off 7.62? Could I have performed even better with weapons that I liked or felt more comfortable with? Absolutely. But I never felt that my KDR was getting, absolutely tanked because of the guns I was using. until I started with the LMG class. Now, I have enjoyed LMGs in the past. I would argue to say that, given their nature as basically just an assault rifle with more ammo in each clip, I was kind of at home using LMGs in the past, even in games where most people didn't use them. They weren't my preferred playstyle or weapon type, but I didn't necessarily hate them, far from it. However, this year, Infinity Ward saw fit to just make them just about useless in Modern Warfare 2. Now, I know there are exceptions to that rule, and nary a day goes by when some G Fuel addicted 14-year-old doesn't absolutely rip me to bits with an RPK one-shot build. I get that. But by and large, they aren't that good, especially not the first one, which is the first one I started with, the Sakin MG38, I think it's called. In a game where ADS speed is terrible as is, and any millisecond of sprint out time or movement speed or ADS speed can single-handedly win or lose you gunfights, these heavy monstrosities just cannot compete in a lot of gunfights. They aren't like completely useless, but I found myself getting outgunned far more often than I ever had been with all of the ARs or the SMGs. Even once I got a good feel for the weapons and maybe found a good attachment or a good attachment configuration, I still felt like I was getting shredded far more often than I had my entire rest of my playthrough up until that point. My KDR started falling, and because I was usually still playing with friends, two of which are actually better than I am, the skill-based matchmaking algorithm wasn't able to quite fluctuate to account for my recent shitty performance with shitty weapons, and thus I was getting smacked in almost every match. It felt horrible, and it single-handedly began to ruin the game for me. I was raging more than I ever had, I was playing horribly, and I wasn't able to help my team win. Kill streaks were just a thing of the past. If it was more than a UAV, forget it. And that's not even counting the matches where I had to do dumb stuff or came in specific challenges like prone kills or point blank kills. Don't even get me started on why they have point blank kills for LMGs. I do not know, but they did, and it was atrocious, especially on normal maps. So I started to fade from COD for a couple weeks and kind of told myself I would jump back in when Season 1 Reloaded dropped. And finally, when it did drop, it brought with it shipment and shipment 24/7. Suddenly, I was actually able to knock out weapon levels and camo challenges and stuff like that like they were nothing. In a normal match, a shitty weapon can lose you several gunfights, but on shipment, things just get kind of lost in all the chaos. You could have a 70-plus kill game, all while using a gun that you absolutely despised. A gun that would maybe allow you to go 4-12 in a normal match, right? Soon I had all of the LMGs finally gold and fully leveled, and then I was able to backtrack and kind of max out all of the DLC assault rifles and SMG and stuff from Season 1. And that's finally when my strategy kind of started shifting in my head. Knowing that I had, battle rifles and marksman rifles and pistols and stuff kind of on the horizon, guns that I would be infinitely worse than going forward. See, our group of friends enjoyed shipment, but really we could only stand maybe 5 or 10 games of it at a time, depending on the day. We'd eventually just back out and head to calmer waters in normal quick play matches, in the normal map rotation. And since I had my mind completely singularly focused on weapon grinding when I was playing on shipment, moving to that other playlist allowed me to kind of take my foot off the gas, so to speak, and just use the weapons that I loved the most when we would switch over, again, just to play in normal rotation. I rationalized that theoretically I could still passively pick up long shots if I wanted to try to get platinum on those guns, since I would need that later. And so that kind of filled the need for progression. There was also still the gold and platinum kill challenges to unlock the calling cards and emblems, so it was still worth it, but at the same time I was able to just take my foot off the gas and enjoy it. And once I adopted that mindset, something amazing happened. I actually finally enjoyed Call of Duty again for the first time since the launch window. No longer was every match an agonizing grind to get kills with weapons that I hated and weapons that just wouldn't allow me to compete. No longer would I lose countless gunfights to meta weapons because I was just using a completely useless hunk of steel, like the Sakin MK38. I started having great games. My accuracy shot through the roof again. I was able to hit great shots. I was making great plays. I wasn't screaming at my monitor every 15 seconds. And even one night we were able to sit down and go on the classic "I'll get off when we lose" 11-game win streak in Search and Destroy, which is, I think, my longest win streak ever. I was able to get my KDR back over 1 despite skill-based matchmaking's best efforts, and overall the experience just got so much better as a whole. For once, I wasn't treating COD like a level-up simulator, and I just started playing it to do, well, like I did in CODs of yesteryear. It brought back some of that genuine passion and fun that I experienced in the original Modern Warfare 2, and COD 4, and Black Ops 2, and Black Ops 1, and whatever else, where every game was just a chance for me to hone my skills and show what I could really do, and try to get more kills and kill streaks. And once I started using good guns again and not worrying about camos, kill streaks started raining down from the skies again, and I started wanting to fire up my Xbox and play COD, and not just be miserable the whole time like I had been for the weeks prior. So I began compartmentalizing my experience with Modern Warfare 2, keeping the camo and gun grinding exclusively to the shipment playlist, which was there for several weeks, while I saved my quote-unquote try-hard classes and try-hard guns for the quick play playlist. I was still able to complete a few guns a week this way, but my experience just wasn't pure hell anymore. And I think I'm going to keep this method going forward. Now, unfortunately, Infinity Ward has since yanked Shipment 24/7 out from under our feet once again in favor of Shoot House, but I'm still playing by the same rules. Basically, I open the game, I load into Shoot House, level a gun or two up or complete a challenge, try to get a gold gun real quick in the first couple matches, get my thumbs all warmed up, and then once I jumped back over to normal matches for the rest of the night, I would just use normal guns and ignore the fact that camo challenges were even a thing. And this has single-handedly saved Modern Warfare 2 for me. I realized that potentially we have another 21 or 22 months of this game before a new COD experience even comes out. And there's no need to relentlessly rush to the camo grind finish line at the expense of my mental health. I have faith that in time, I too will be walking around with Orion camo on my guns, and getting it 3 months sooner isn't going to make me any cooler. In fact, I think it would actually make the game worse, since at that point, I would almost be out of things to unlock or do. So from here on out, I'll be taking it nice and slow and remembering that playing video games is actually meant to be fun and not a miserable camo or level grind. Now, that about wraps it up today, guys. I just wanted to mention that, a lot of times we kind of get ourselves in a mindset where we have to unlock everything, we have to grind through. And I see that a lot in the content creator space as well, a lot of the YouTubers I watch, and just a lot of the complaints from the community in general, wherein people will race to the finish line, unlock every camo, unlock every gun, max everything out, hit the max level in prestige and everything, and then kind of start to complain when there's nothing for them to do, because they grinded incessantly for the first 3 months and did everything that there's possible, to do in the game. So that's why I'm trying to take a step back from that so I don't get caught in that same kind of pit that a lot of people are falling into, and just kind of enjoy the game. Play the game with the guns that make me feel good, that I feel confident with, and I'll have a better overall experience. And then whenever I feel like it, when I'm on a map that lends itself to that experience, I can still level up guns and increase that progress towards my end goal of achieving Orion camo without kind of just ruining the rest of the experience. So I hope anyone listening today kind of adopts the same, ideology going forward, especially if this game has really gotten to you, really made you mad over the last couple of months. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Have you slipped into kind of the same issue with, trying to use guns to get gold camo or platinum camo or whatever and just absolutely hating your experience? How has the camo grind gone for you guys? I'd like to know how many gold guns you have and if you have actually gotten Orion camo so far. So let me know down in the comments section below. And as always, guys, this has been Crunchy Frog, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.